In a world where change is only constant, making bold decisions is not only an option, it's a necessity. Today, we're about to share with you one of the most significant turns in our lives. Cryptocurrencies, they redefine what I thought was possible with money. But as I prepare to move from the UK to Dubai, I face a decision that many might find unexpected. I'm selling all my crypto. Yes, you heard that right. Every single one.
So the first part of this journey started with us moving our business from the UK over to Dubai. This was very daunting, but I do feel that it was a necessity in order to fulfill the goals and the aspirations of Nick, myself, our team, the channel here at Cheeky Crypto. So why, I hear you ask, did we move the business over to Dubai from the UK? The UK's FCA regulations played a huge part in this decision. We didn't really want to leave the UK at the start, but seeing all of the changes, the lack of clarity, the cost of lawyers to really be able to understand how we could participate and continue making content, keeping our community engaged and up to date on everything that was happening was becoming impossible.
One of the amazing benefits of Dubai is the tax. In the UK, as you guys probably are well aware, the tax system has been, well, a little bit brutal, and it's getting more and more brutal as the years go by. With changes to capital gains tax in the coming years looking less and less attractive, the taxation here in Dubai has become a bit of a haven for many like-minded entrepreneurs out there. So it's not completely tax-free over here. There is a 9% corporation tax here in the UAE. This is something that's actually been brought in this year since we've moved here. However, there is 0% when it comes to your personal taxes. Now, in contrast to the UK has a 10% tax for corporations, but also has a 20% capital gains tax. Income tax can vary as well depending on how much you earn, and basically you can lose a pretty hefty chunk of your salaries if you're in the UK. So as an entrepreneur, moving to Dubai and moving to the UAE actually makes a lot of financial sense. 0% on our personal tax is a pretty big deal, specifically when we have large crypto portfolios. So it's important that for us and for our point of view is to limit the amount that we are just gifting to the government just for the purpose of using our funds that's already been taxed to buy assets to then be taxed again. It didn't make a lot of sense to us. So coming to the UAE, coming to Dubai, not only do we get to enjoy the fantastic weather, but we also get 0% in personal taxes. And that is a huge advantage to the UAE.
So this is one of the reasons why I believe we're seeing record numbers of millionaires leaving the UK, as well as billionaires. I think that the UK is in an absolute state at the moment. We've been seeing taxation changes that are really scary when you come to think about it, the amount of tax that you're having to pay, but also the amount of, crime, knife crime and all this sort of stuff that is happening. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the state of the UK. I think it's terrible. We're also seeing the regulations being very negative towards investing in cryptocurrency. We've seen banks debanking people like myself with Santander. The irony when they're actually working and operating with the project Ripple, who own XRP. Lots going on that I really didn't like in the UK, which meant we had to move.
So with all of this in mind, the reasons as to why we've moved our company from the UK over to UAE, why we are over here ourselves now living from a taxation point of view, it's important that we now touch on the subject matter of today's video. Yes, we sold all our crypto, but wait, it's not what you think. Selling our cryptocurrency now is actually a bit of a necessity for us, a bit of a way to kind of hedge against some of the future gains that we are potentially going to be seeing. So in the UK, you can still be taxed even if you are living abroad on any assets that were purchased whilst you were a UK tax resident. There are ways around this, of course, the 5-year rule. If you were to stay outside of the UK for 5 years, well, then all those capital gains are fine, they're tax-free, they are yours to keep. However, if you do go back to the UK for more than 90 days in any one financial year, you do actually end up liable for capital gains tax. You do not avoid capital gains tax in the UK just by moving to Dubai for 1 or 2 years. So our approach to this has been slightly different. Instead of trying to completely avoid tax, we sold our assets. We sold them at a lower valuation than what we believe that they're likely to go to. This means that we are essentially going to be paying a smaller tax bill, but a tax bill nonetheless, to the United Kingdom. We then simultaneously rebought all of our cryptocurrency assets back again, meaning we have a new entry point. This entry point is while we are here in the UAE and while we're in Dubai. That means that any gains that are now made are 0% tax and are applicable to our tax rules here in the UAE. As residents of Dubai, that essentially means that we can enjoy 0% tax on any personal gains that we make. But this was a necessity. It was a move that we had to make because we cannot guarantee that we'll be out of the UK for 5 years. We've got family over there, some of that have got health potential issues, and so we cannot guarantee that we might not visit the UK and spend some time over there, and therefore this was the most logical move for us to pay a kind of lower tax bill, a tax bill nonetheless, but a reduced tax bill on what we think the potential bull market is likely to bring us in terms of capital gains. Now, selling all the cryptocurrency assets wasn't easy. This was actually quite a hefty task. It took about 48 hours to actually complete. Now, this will depend on obviously how many assets each individual person has, but for ourselves, we had a good amount of different cryptocurrencies in the portfolio that had to be moved from cold storage over to exchanges, had to be basically liquidated. And then, of course, we had to look for new entries and we had to buy into all those assets again. It took us a little bit of time, about 48 hours or so. And for the most part, that is actually putting us at a really interesting spot. It now has new entries with new potential gains that are coming in the future. So let's talk about exchanges. I used 2 exchanges to liquidate all of my assets. I used 𝗕𝗓𝗄 and BitGet. Now, the reason I had to use 2 of these exchanges rather than a single exchange was all to do with what cryptocurrency assets were available on each exchange. Now, for the most part, these are 2 exchanges that I do trust, but assets were only on them very briefly. As I said, this is a 48-hour process. So move assets onto the exchanges, liquidate your assets, take the assets off the exchanges. Okay, I'm not an advocate for keeping assets on exchanges. There's increased risks and all of that. And of course, the other thing with all of these liquidations was gas fees. As I keep most of the portfolio on the ETH chain, it actually was quite expensive to move all the assets around and liquidate them all. But once it is done, in the long run, I do believe it's actually going to be worthwhile and will actually save money on the longer term.
So that is the story of why we sold all of our crypto. Call us crazy, maybe we are, maybe we're not. We don't have a crystal ball here at Cheeky Crypto, but one thing that we do have is contacts. We are going to be setting up a fantastic interview with some tax experts here in the UAE that also operate in the UK. So stay tuned for that. Jump into our Discord, which is free to join, link in the description of this video. Check out the latest video here from JB. I do recommend that you subscribe, tap that bell, select all the notifications so you never miss a video, and why not hit that like button and show your support for Cheeky Crypto. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.